All right, I got Aaron here from Evolution Daily, and just here to ask you a quick few questions. I want to just do some rapid fire questions for you about what you've learned on your journey, on your pickup journey, on your socially savvy modern man journey. I see that you've been going around Miami. You're all the way back in Columbus. So just tell me what's going on in your life right now.
Yeah, man. So, you and I, first of all, have been fucking. You and I have been talking. I mean, we've been like YouTube friends since back in the day when both of us had like less than 10 subscribers, right?
It's awesome, yeah.
Yeah, man. And I started, so around that time when I launched Evolution Daily, I had just started to get to a point where literally there was like a demand for me to create a YouTube channel. So I was going so hard with pickup, so hard in game, that all these different guys in Columbus were asking me like, dude, would you do like a little boot camp with me or something? And I was like, sure. So like dudes were giving me like $90 to take them out for the night. And people just kept telling me, because I'd go on these crazy rants about pickup. We'd all be hanging out, and I would just be like really explaining to guys like my philosophies on picking up girls and stuff, and they'd be like, dude, make a YouTube channel, like start doing this. And I was like, I don't know, man, like I don't know if I'm really cut out for that. And then I started launching the videos, and you and I met, and our channels have both kind of like slowly progressed alongside each other, and it's been sick.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's honestly it's really cool to see your growth just from your very beginning to where you are now. You're hitting 500 subscribers, really getting that snowball rolling. And what the cool thing I think about it is, the more subscribers you're getting, obviously, the more influence you get, and the more people that you talk to, ultimately, you're like leading yourself to a better lifestyle in general as well. What are some of the things that you think have kind of like poured into other parts of your life in terms of just becoming a more socially savvy man in general?
Yeah, so here's one of the common misconceptions with pickup, okay? So I'll tell a lot of guys, I'll tell everybody about my YouTube channel, Evolution Daily, and they're like, oh, what is it? And I'm like, well, I teach dating, I teach cold approach pickup, I teach guys essentially how to go up to any girl in any venue and lead an interaction that results in sleeping with her, getting her phone number to go on dates, things like that. And most people will always give me a very similar response. They'll say, life's not all about fucking girls, man. There's more to life than just getting laid. And
Right.
I'm like, yeah, there is. You're 100% right. Like, you're not telling me something I don't already know. But
Right.
the reason why it has gone so much deeper than just like, oh, I'm getting laid now, this is awesome, and why I'm now building my business around this and my life around this, is because overall, man, I mean, I'm not gonna fucking toot my own horn here, or whatever, but I'm aware that I'm a pretty effective communicator now. And I swear to God on everything, like I have old videos that I plan on releasing where like back in the day of me talking, testing out camera equipment and stuff like that, before pickup and learning all this shit, I was like a bad talker. I mean, just
Yeah.
like that's the simplest way I can put it. I would have a lot of anxiety in conversations that went on for a very long time, very scatterbrained. I don't think that I really enunciated my words properly. Voice projection was down, all this. And basically, through going out and talking to, a ton of different girls, as well as the relationships I formed with like dudes who are also learning pickup. I mean, all of my best friends in the world now are guys that I know through pickup or through YouTube or through business or through just entrepreneurship in general. And through all of that, it's like I've had to communicate at a higher level. And so it's just made me an overall better communicator, man, with everybody in my life. And I think that that's like one of the more underrated factors of learning pickup, to be honest. Underrated benefits.
Right. I mean, I've definitely dabbled in there for sure, and definitely going out there and getting your feet wet is actually really intimidating for a lot of guys, and it really sucks that there's this social stigma attached to wanting to be successful with women, which is essentially all you're teaching men is just teaching them how to be successful with girls, and yet there is just so much friction between what people consider good and bad, I guess, in today's world, and
Yeah.
it's like they're layering their own forms of morality on top of something that really does have in the end, a really good message, especially for
Yeah.
young men.
Well, and here's the deal, man. I mean, the pickup community itself, it gets a lot of flack for a lot of good reasons. I mean, there's some fucking scumbags running around doing this. I mean,
Right.
your channel is all about like traveling around and like really experiencing life and shit like that. And in that same way, there's guys that have channels like similar to yours, but they're kind of scummy ass dudes. So I
Right.
always tell people, man, in every area of life, you're gonna have good and bad. So you have great cops, man, working in small communities to better the community. They've dedicated themselves to law and order and really helping everyone around them. And then you have racist ass cops, priests that help the community and really help people find God and change their lives, priests that molest kids, whatever. So pickup as a whole, to generalize it as this scummy sort of thing, it's really unfair. Are there scummy ass dudes with YouTube channels way bigger than mine teaching pickup? Yes, 110%. But the really fucking amazing thing with this whole thing is, like, before pickup, I also just, like, I always had friends, but I never had chicks in my life that were willing to date or, like, hook up with me, whatever. Before I really discovered pickup and started going out and trying to learn it and everything, I had only slept with a couple of girls, and they weren't quality. It was like drunken, I'll take what I can get.
Right.
Whereas now, because I've thrown myself through the ringer, whatever that fucking expression is, where, I mean, I've gone on countless dates now. I've picked up, I've been on way more dates than even girls I slept with, because a lot of times dates don't even end in sleeping with the girl. I've been on countless dates. I've had a bunch of different girls who are, like, kind of my girlfriends over the years. And right now, I'm in a really good relationship with a very high quality girl who, we have a very interesting relationship, because I teach pickup, and, the agreement that we've come to is the fact that, like, every once in a while I'm going to, hook up with a girl, but I'm not going to date anybody else. I'm not really a guy who needs to have multiple girlfriends, things like that. But guys think, I just want to find the right girl. I just want to find this one girl that's going to change everything for me. And it's like, yeah, I mean, like, hopefully you'll fucking turn a corner with a bunch of papers in your hand and bump into a girl, and you drop them all, and you're scattering around, and you look up into each other's eyes and fall in love. But that's probably not going to fucking happen, dude. This ain't Hitch.
Yeah, I mean, like, in terms of your own progress, where do you feel like you made the transition between trying to fill a void in your life in terms of, like, finding a relationship, and making the transition to it's just like icing on the cake, and, it's like no big deal, and this is just like a natural part of life, a natural part of being?
Yeah, so at the very beginning, when you first start learning pickup, one of the things that we teach is to be, to be very free from the outcome. So it's about, and it's this weird tightrope. I have multiple videos on this, where you're walking a tightrope, where over here it's like, try really hard, like, really go out, hammer this out, just approach random girls in any situation, even when you're not going out to do it. And then over here, it's like, but don't care too much. Because when you care too much, then the girl can sense that, and also you start really beating yourself up. So at the very beginning, it was very much so like, dude, I just want to get laid. I need this. I was going on, like, over a year-long dry spells, where then I would, again, hook up with one of these very low-quality girls, and it wasn't fulfilling. I almost wish that the dry spell would have continued a lot of the times, because it was just bad, and neither of us, it's whatever. So at the very beginning, it was definitely like, yo, I need to get laid, and, like, whatever, maybe my ego needed it, I don't fucking know, I don't care. But then what started to happen was, I ended up, like, building my life around the success that I was having with women. So a lot of these girls who, I would end up, like, picking up, quote unquote, sleeping with, things like that. Dude, a lot of them are, like, still my good fucking friends.
Getting into something like success with women, what would be some, like, just beginner steps, like, very, very simple, something just right off the cuff that people could start doing today, this very moment, to just get a little bit better?
So first and foremost, don't think about this video or think about other pickup videos and just go through your day-to-day life thinking, oh, I'm going to make an approach soon. A lot of the times people struggle with fitness because rather than just going to the fucking gym, they say, oh, I don't have the money for that, or I don't have the time for that, whatever. So they try doing, like, P90X in their living room or follow some YouTube workout thing, and, like, what would happen with me when I used to do that, because I used to be very overweight, and I would try doing that, a part of it was because at the time I was literally so overweight, and my confidence was so low that I was, like, embarrassed to be at the gym. So I had actually gotten my Planet Fitness gym membership and went once and didn't go again for 6 months, because I was like, people are, like, looking at me. So, but one of the things that I tell guys a lot of the times is, like, when you decide to start doing this, really set aside the time. Be like, okay, today, for 1 hour, you don't have to watch one of my videos and see me being super charismatic and fucking running around and doing set after set after set, but rather going out and being like, okay, for 1 hour, I'm going to go out and I'm going to approach a few girls. I'm going to really do it. So setting aside that time. And then one of the things that I've been teaching a lot lately, which I actually don't even have a video about this on my own channel yet, is basically sort of like this 3-step process that I kind of have for getting guys to actually just do it. So I call it the 3 S's, okay? I call it smile, swagger, and socialize. So
Nice.
yeah, so the smile works on 2 levels, okay? So what I'm talking about here is I'm talking about when you do set aside that 1 hour and you decide to go out. I'm talking about being in your car and smiling like a fucking idiot. Like holding onto the wheel, looking at people, smiling, fucking waving from your car, whatever. Having this big-ass smile on your face. Because, I heard Elliot Holst talking a lot about how, your smile can literally release these chemicals in your brain that literally make you happier and put you in a better mood. So that's one aspect of the smile. The second aspect of the smile is when you're in the club, not smiling like an idiot anymore, but having a more relaxed smile. So when you do go out to the bar, or even if you're doing it during the day, the mall, grocery store, whatever the fuck it is, just having a good smile on your face, man. And going up to girls, and rather than letting them see the fear and the anxiety, and going up like, hey, my name's Aaron, I just wanted to say hello. But rather going up and being like, hey, how's it going? So getting that smile on your face, putting out that positive energy, okay? Step 2 is swagger. So your body language for a lot of you guys watching this video right now, there's guys who are always naturally pretty decent. We call them naturals, quote unquote. Guys who have always messed around with girls, always been cool guy, whatever, stuff like that. But like for guys like me, and a lot of guys who have to like learn this, when I was first going out and picking up girls, my body language was really bad. I was very like closed in, shoulders, down, whatever. So I tell guys, man, step your swagger up physically by just kind of like rotating your shoulders around, man. Kind of like putting some spring in your step, like fucking shadow boxing a little bit. And then just having your posture up, dude. You know what I'm saying? So now you've got that smile. Now your posture's up. You're loose. I mean, like literally jump around and shit. Just to get in that fucking zone. And then step 3 is socialize. So again, a lot of guys get discouraged because you look up like infield pickup videos and you see like me fucking spinning some girl around, lifting her up. You see Julian Blanc or whoever, saying all the funniest, craziest shit. Step 3 is socialize because you don't have to do that. Go around, and when you're nervous, go up and say the most non-sexual, non-outcome dependent thing you could ever think of in your life. Excuse me, do you know where I could find the peanut butter? I don't fucking know. If you're at the grocery store, you're at the bar. Hey, didn't there used to be a pool table here? Oh, I'm not really sure. Oh, what, are you not from around here? Boom. I mean, not going in thinking time to do the pickup, but rather just socializing, man. Going up to the bar, ordering whatever you're ordering, talking to the bartender a bit, chatting people up, saying hello. Again, smile, swagger, socialize, getting yourself into that zone. Then that's going to make you feel really fucking good and confident. And then, boom, go up to a girl. Hey, how's it going? I saw you over here and I wanted to say hello. So
yeah, no, I love the natural stuff. I love the fact that you're just willing to like go off the cuff. I think a lot of guys, when they first get into this, really get into their heads and really end up just kind of shooting themselves in the foot. And I see a lot of the material coming out, and that's why I really gravitate towards your stuff, because it's a lot more natural, a lot more fluid, a lot more charismatic, and just kind of more of an ideal social scenario that you're actually going to see, rather than what you were talking about before, where there's all these crazy lines and people losing everything. But what I did want to talk to you about is, in one of your more recent videos, you talked about how pickup has become very fluid for you. It's almost as if you don't do day game now, you don't do night game now. It's just kind of like you have a life, and pickup is like introduced and automatically just part of your life, just going about your life. But in terms of day game and night game, do you see any sort of radical transformation in terms of the way the girl's posturing you when you do approach, and whether or not there is certain types of approaches per se that might work a little bit better in certain scenarios?
Yeah, 100%. So one of the big fallacies that you'll see a lot of dating coaches, pickup coaches, things like that, one of the biggest loads of bullshit that gets thrown around the community, honestly, people trying to teach this, is that day game and night game are the same, and that it's really the same, it's like the same thing, and it's not at all. You're not going to approach a girl at the mall the way that you're going to approach a girl at the club. The biggest reason being that at the nighttime social venues, there's a context there. So you've seen a lot of movies where a guy and a girl are kind of drunk and they meet at a club and they go home together. You see that a lot. How many movies do you see where people meet in a grocery store and go home right then and there together?
Right.
There's no context during the daytime. So because of the overarching sexual context that comes with going out of the club, I mean, either consciously or subconsciously, the reason why you dress the way you dress when you go out to bars and things is typically to attract a mate. I mean, why else are girls putting on these crazy shoes and these dresses and things like that? And I understand, like, it's for me, it's to look sexy, but there you go, like, even that,
Right.
So there's a social context there. So in the nighttime, where I might go up to a girl and I might go up and have a very sexual tone to me and everything, like, hey, how's it going? And she goes, I'm good. How are you? Good. I think you're really fucking hot. Like, is that too forward? I'm not. Maybe I could do that during the day. However, it's not going to be the most effective. And you're going to have one guy who's going to watch this and he's going to comment and be like, I did that at Central Park and I pulled. I've done it too. However, I don't teach what has worked for me once or twice or 3 times. I teach what is going to work overall. So during the daytime, you want to really massively focus on something that I call the illusion of improvisation, which is something that I learned from stand-up comedy. When you go to an open mic night, the worst comics are the comics who you can tell they have a list in their head, sometimes even in their hand they actually still hold the list, and they're kind of just reading off joke after joke after joke. If the jokes are hilarious, it might be okay, but overall you don't like that it doesn't feel natural. You watch
Right.
Louis C.K., and although he's actually performed those jokes hundreds, maybe thousands of times, it sounds like it's coming off the cuff. It sounds like he just thought of something, and then, like he's just coming up with it. So you want to have that during your daytime pickup. So I approach indirect during the day. Meaning, I'll go up to a girl, and what I'll do is typically I'll ask for directions. So I'll go up and I'll be like, hey, excuse me, there's supposed to be a coffee shop just right up the road. It's not a Starbucks. It's like a independently owned coffee shop. Do you know what I'm talking about? And then based on her response, you can carry the conversation from there. So she says,
Right.
oh yeah, I do actually. It's right over here around the corner, whatever. You say, oh, so you must be from New York. And she says, oh, well, yeah, but I was born in, New Jersey. Cool, I'm from Ohio. Boom. Now you're transitioning into a normal conversation. So
Right.
during the daytime, really focus, I guess, just not to rant too much about the indirect approach, whatever, but just
Right.
really kind of focus on making the girl feel as though, oh, like you're a guy who is socially savvy, had kind of something to say, a question to ask, a comment to make. Hey, I know this is kind of weird. I really like that necklace, actually. She's like, oh, thanks. Yeah, my friend Rebecca actually has the same one. Are you from around here? Focusing on this very indirect approach that then you can transition into a little more sexuality. I know we just met, but I would really love to hang out with you sometime. Can I get your number? Sure, that would be really great. So whereas during the evening time, you can be there's a lot of different ways to approach in the evening, but it's typically a lot more aggressive. It can get very physical. A lot of times dancing is involved. And that's all because the social context is there for that to happen.
Right. Yeah, I like the fact that especially during daytime, I think coming in from a non-threatening standpoint is extremely effective. I definitely think that it's probably the best way to go about it because a lot of girls, we talk about social pressure here and social pressure on guys, especially the duty approach, but a lot of the social pressure, especially during daytime, is on girls. Say, for instance, you're in a coffee shop or something like that, and you walk up to a girl and then an extremely direct and flamboyant approach, she might actually be extremely interested in what you have to say or sexually attracted to you, but because there's so many people looking at her, all of a sudden she's got that social pressure on her, kind of like the same dynamic that goes on at the nightclubs when they go out with their friends and stuff like that. Do you still feel like you still see the same type of person when you're at the nightclub, or is there like immediately like you see somebody completely different once you're in one of those one-on-one scenarios? Typically that might happen a lot more during the daytime.
Yeah, so it's funny you say that because I made a video about this a while ago, and I called it don't mistake social anxiety for disinterest. So it's exactly what you're talking about, man. I mean, dude, sometimes like if I just wake up and I go out and like even if I got approached by a girl or something, I wouldn't even be able to have a good interaction because it's the morning and I'm fucking tired and I just don't want to deal with shit. So even if like a hot girl came up to me, I might even flub up myself. So
Right.
a lot of the times you approach this girl and you're like, oh, she fucking rejected me, and you don't even take into account that you put her on the spot in the Starbucks.
Right.
It's quiet in there, and you decide to like really brave up and go make an approach. If you're gonna do that, don't put her on the spot. So be very quiet about it. Go up and sit
Right.
down with her, almost like you're a friend, and just be like, hey, I think you're really cute, and like whisper, like really take into account like her world is. Again, like you said, given the spotlight put on as well. I just had to talk to a lot of guys about that in New York. They were talking to me about the subway approaches and stuff, and I told them straight up. I said, I have not approached on the subway yet. I don't think. I don't know, man. I don't think that it's really appropriate. I know it sounds weird because I do crazy shit all the time, but it's
Right.
kind of like on the subway, man, it's very quiet. There's people all around, and I don't want a girl to feel like, just because I've been working on myself socially and my bravery and everything, maybe
Right.
she hasn't. So then I go up and I start engaging her, and she's just like, you know.
Right.
But overall, as far as the different types of girls that you're going to encounter, it almost seems like, so it's almost contradictory to what most people would think, I would say to this, I guess, because you look at what people are doing in those situations and you're like, oh, they're very different. The girl studying at Barnes & Noble is so much different than that girl out of the nightclub. But what do you think that girl at Barnes & Noble is doing that night? She's going out to the club. So
Right.
people say things like, oh, you don't ever want to meet your wife at a bar. You don't want to meet your husband at a bar, or stuff like that. It's not like a good setting, whatever. And that's because people are so addicted to the social narrative. So girls want to tell grandma that I came up to them at the bookstore and she was reading one of my favorite books and we talked about the book for an hour. She doesn't want to tell them, oh yeah, I was wasted with Jessica and he came up and spun me around and swept me off my feet. You
Yeah.
know. But they're the same girls, and guys have this sort of like pretentious outlook on that as well. A lot of the times, I mean, they'll be like, a lot of guys will subscribe to only doing day game. They'll be like, yeah, I just want to go out and meet, because I want to meet quality girls. I want to meet quality girls out during the day. Hot
Right.
girls want to go where there's access, like to everything. Like a hot girl has higher access to higher levels of higher quality dudes, higher quality chicks. I met some girls in New York who explained to me the way that it works in New York because they kept talking about this guy as their promoter, and they were talking about him like their father. They're like, yeah, I mean, my promoter says that blah blah blah. My promoter. I was like, why do you keep calling him your promoter? And her and all of her hot little friends, they get paid $50 cash and they drink for free all night at a VIP table just to be at this club. So higher quality women are going to go out where they have higher quality access. So you have to go out and, find the higher quality chicks. And go out at night. Go out during the day, anytime.
Yeah, one thing that I definitely do remember about Miami was just the amount of stunning beauty that was there, just the caliber. It was just absolutely balls to the wall, just insane, and I loved it. And I think, I don't know if you've experienced this per se, but have you ever noticed that if a girl's extremely, extremely, extremely attractive looking, like talk about your perfect ideal 10. And I remember going up to these two girls, and it was like 2:30 at night. So obviously everything's closing. It's a block party. Everything's closing at 3 o'clock. And I go up and say hi to them, and I say, "Oh, I must be guy number 25 or something like that." And they're like, "No, you're actually the first."
Oh,
And
wow.
I come to find out that they literally went an entire night out on the club and didn't get talked to by one guy all night long because people were so afraid to approach because they didn't feel as if they were their social value was enough. Do you feel like those top tier girls are just as attainable as, say, like just like an average girl or maybe a girl next door?
They're not as obtainable. So what it comes down to is that's another thing that a lot of guys talk about is they talk about you want to game tens the same way that you would game fives, things like that. And where that's true is when it comes to certain mindsets. So again, earlier we were talking about the freedom from the outcome. So I'm not a guru yet. I'm not some Eckhart Tolle, present of the moment, master of worlds. So when I'm gaming a hotter chick and I'm like, God, I really want to fuck her. I'm a little more attached than I'd like to be. Whereas I'm gaming a 5 and I'm like, I could care less where this goes. I honestly, whatever. So there's some mindsets that have to be the same. However, you really do have to you have to game better. Honestly, you have to game hotter girls better. And the reason why is because it comes down to, again, what I was talking about just a second ago, which is access. The fact of the matter is, that little girl or not little girl, she was a grown-ass woman, but that girl that I was talking to, like I said, in New York, where she explained to me the club promoter stuff, she was a stunning woman. I mean, she was just super hot Turkish girl. I mean, just fucking perfect. And the fact of the matter is that if Drake comes into that nightclub, she could have Drake. So you are not going to be able to spit the same kind of game and get, just because you're getting 6s and 7s, semi-often, doesn't mean that you're going to be able to get that 9 or that 10. So that will come in time. I've really been able to notice dude, it's like a perfect slope. I actually want to draw like a diagram. It's so funny, man. Like, I look at like before game, I could get so I always break it down into like who I get attention from and then who I'm sleeping with. So before game, I was maybe sleeping with 4s and getting the attention of 6s. Then that slowly starts to go up, man. It's like a perfect ladder. Start sleeping with 5s and get the attention of 7s, and higher and higher and higher up. Where now, not very often, other than like this last weekend, I actually just ended up hooking up with the hottest girl of my entire life this last weekend. And,
Nice.
And I will honestly, fucking to the day, I'll confidently give her a 9. She is smoking hot, and I don't really want to call her a 10, just because I think almost calling them a 10 is weird. One of the things that I really do is I call them 8-ups. And I like to call girls 8-ups a lot of the times because, I mean, this is kind of fucked up to put numerical scales on things. But, it's for stories. It's easier to explain to you, oh, she was a 6 or she was an 8-up. And the reason why I like to say 8-up a lot of the times is because your 8 might be my 10 and my 10 might be your 8. However, rarely are you going to say a 6 and then I'm like, oh, she's a 10. You know what I'm saying? So she lived in hot girl land. That's what I call it, hot girl land. But yeah, man. I mean, these girls they have higher quality access. They can date celebrities, they can date athletes, things like that. So in time, your ladder will go up just like mine has, where now I am getting the higher quality girls and I'm getting the attention even from the perfect girls. So I'm not sleeping with girls who are my 100% ideal. I mean, I look at some of these Instagram models that I've been following for years, and I'm not sleeping with girls like that, but I am getting their attention. I am going out to the clubs and getting them to really engage in conversation and maybe even get the number, stuff like that. And that will slowly come in time for guys. So I like to really explain to guys not to get too discouraged. I mean, I tell guys who watch some of my infield and other people's, hitting cam videos and stuff, and they watch it and they just think, that's like never going to be me. And I say, no, like it totally can, but it's going to take you a long time.
Right. Yeah. I mean, just in terms of talking about time, and I know just being men, we're very logical. Oh, and by the way, I believe you're a 10, Aaron. And
thank you very much. I needed that.
But what I am interested in, you are talking about like a graph and how like over time you're getting better and you're getting better quality women in terms of looks, in terms of lifestyle, in terms of pretty much everything. What have you seen in terms of maybe just perhaps your own learning curve, and how fast can most guys expect to see results if they're going out on a consistent basis?
So, one of the staples of everything I teach is to, a guy can go out for 100 days and make 100 approaches in a night and make 10,000 approaches and not get laid once because he's doing the same bullshit over and over again. Maybe not even getting a number, definitely not getting a girlfriend out of it, whatever. So one of the things that I always teach guys is that you have to, in life in general, pick up especially, but in life in general, man, always be capitalizing upon what is working and eliminating what isn't. So guys will go out and they just like wing it. And they're just like winging it, and they're like, oh, I'm doing the approaches, I'm doing what Aaron said, I'm going up to all the girls, whatever. But you need to, like, when you get home, or even in that evening, sit down and really analyze. Write shit down. Oh, that girl laughed at that line. Or, I used the, like, by the way, I'm going to steal your line that you just gave me about 15 minutes, or 5 minutes ago, where you said, I must be guy number 25, huh? That's funny. I like that. So, and maybe that came off the top of your head. So going home and, like, writing that kind of shit down. oh, I'm
Right.
getting some decent results. I'm getting some decent attention when I say these certain things. So guys need to constantly be, again, capitalizing upon what is working and then eliminating what's not. I went up to 5 girls with a stone cold face and said, hi, I would really like to meet you. And all of them thought I was weird. So probably shouldn't do that anymore.
Right.
Things like that. So, as far as like how long until you can expect results, it's all about how much you're really being a practitioner of this whole thing, how much you're studying, and also how much you're really self-analyzing what it is that you did that night.
Yeah, you truly do have balls of steel. I absolutely love watching your infield videos and stuff like that. How much do you think that has played a part in your own growth, just being able to audit yourself, not only through what you experience through your own first person view, but actually seeing yourself in the third person, actually talking to people? How much has that actually affected your own growth?
It's huge, man. It's huge. And so before I started doing pickup, well, wait, no. It was after I started doing pickup. So I started doing pickup, and for about 2 years, I did stand-up comedy. Now, during that 2-year period, I wasn't doing pickup as much, not the way that I am now. I was still going out with my friends, but I was still drinking at the time, so I'd be getting drunk, and I'd go up to girls and whatever. But it wasn't like the way I'm doing it now.
Right.
And I realized while I was doing stand-up comedy, because I'd film myself all the time, and dude, I like eliminated every like bad body language habit I have from watching myself on film, which is
Right.
very interesting. I started doing a comedy podcast, which the podcast actually came right before I started doing stand up. Where I heard my voice even, and dude, when you first like start hearing your voice and shit, you're like, oh, what the fuck, you know what I mean? You're like, oh, I don't even want to do this podcast. That's what I was thinking. But what that did is it really forced me to really step outside of the box and look at myself and be like, dude, why are you saying like every other fucking word? Why are you constantly and the thing is, I don't, it's like you start really recognizing your speech patterns.
Right.
Watching myself do pickup, especially, pickup is a huge part of it is about these sub communications. So it's not so much the communications themselves. What did you say? How did you really move the girl around? Stuff like that. But a lot of it has to do with the way you fucking move your face and, the way that you really work your voice and your tonality and your eye contact and things like that. And you're able to really step outside and watch yourself and then see the way, oh, I'm kind of standing weird. Oh, why do I slouch into my interactions? Why do I like lose the confidence I had at the beginning and then kind of like, so it's definitely, it's great, man. It's really good.
Is there any like habits that you implement into your day, that will help somebody perhaps even before they go out? Do you meditate? Do you go to the gym? Is there anything that you could personally say definitely helps with your social skills other than going out, doing the work, and getting yourself to that point?
Yeah, so basically, self-development and pickup have become so intertwined for a reason. So, a lot of companies, myself included, I love to really, really harp on a lot of the different, self-development things, sort of having confident mindsets and things like that, because basically what I realized, man, is I just have a very overactive mind, and it's very fucking weak. It's like weak to have a mind that you sort of don't have any control of, and you let your mind control you. So
Right.
something that I really actively do is I don't do actual long form meditation, but something that I've been doing ever since for a long time, man. I was doing it in comedy right before I would go up and perform. I do it just all the time, man. When I'm having like a really like a good moment, I'll do it all the time. I do this like little mini meditation where I will basically breathe in through my nose as deeply as possible, and then hold my breath for 8 long seconds, and then exhale that for 8 long seconds until you're almost like suffocating, and then do it again. And
Right.
and I learned that when I was looking up ways to like get over stage fright. And what I realized that does for me, man, is that makes me like shut my fucking brain down. And I just like think about like my breath. And so cuz a lot of the times, man, like dude, when you're doing what you and I are doing, which is like really stepping outside of the norm,
Big
there's
time.
massive social pressures. I don't know your full story, but you
Right.
probably have like a family member or something who's like, "What the fuck are you doing? Go work at the
Yes.
bank." Or whatever. So anytime that you're doing something that you are, really stepping out of the norm and just going hard, man, and trying to succeed, you're gonna have all those social pressures, but then you're also gonna have your own self-doubt where, fuck, maybe people are right. Oh shit, 99% of businesses shut down within 3 years. Ugh, you know what I mean? You start having all these self-doubting things. Am I really even good enough at this to really be putting out these videos? All these self-doubt things, they come into play. And you shouldn't always be dependent upon the validation. Because I'm very dependent. A lot of the times I will fall into these zones, these areas where, that's another thing about self-development is like it'll go in cycles. So you're not always just going to be 100% fucking like, it's not like you fix your confidence and then, oh, I'm confident forever now. You go through confidence cycles, things like that. So, I'll go through these periods where I'm getting a lot of validation. For example, when I was just in New York, it's like I had some like daytime polls. I did like a pickup meetup. I'm teaching all these guys. They're all like, oh, thank you. And so like, I'm feeling like so great. Oh, cool. This thing's going to work out. But you shouldn't be dependent upon that validation. So you need to be able to tell your brain to shut the fuck up with the self-doubting thoughts and move forward and keep doing what you're doing. Stay on your fucking journey and really just know that there's a reason why you have these bad thoughts a lot of the times. It's not your fault. It's because of all this external bullshit that you have rattling around in there. And so sometimes you need to just fucking whoosh. You're into meditation, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I love meditating. I usually only do it like 10 minutes a day, but I can say without question, just like you, I think a lot of creatives have very hyperactive minds, and we just have so many ideas that we want to share with the world that we just end up getting in our own way a lot of the time. In terms of entrepreneurship, just a quick side tangent, what have you learned and, in this time and being able to grow your channel and actively being able to influence people's lives and influence the world and what's that feel like for one, and two, what are some of the big roadblocks that you've experienced, whether it be through entrepreneurship or pickup, and some of the things that you really had to dig deep inside yourself to find your true glory?
Yeah, so entrepreneurship. So there's that very famous story. Everybody loves this story about, how Mark Zuckerberg way back in the day turned down Yahoo, who tried to buy Facebook for $2 billion at the time when the company had an evaluation of maybe $1 million or something. Like, it was very small scale. And people love that story because Zuckerberg was like, yo, okay, so I could cash out for $2 billion, but I think I can grow this even bigger. And I had my Mark Zuckerberg moment, and I fucking sold. I temporarily sold out. So what ended up happening with me was I started Evolution Daily, and I was putting out the videos for a few months, and I got the channel up to about 250 subscribers, things like that. And then what I did is I did a 30-night challenge where I went out every single night, and I did a video field report the next day about what happened the night before. And I spread it all over. I put it in every Facebook group. I put it all over. People loved it. I got like 100 subscribers during that 30 days. I mean, like, people were very into it. And what that caused was for me to get recognized by a much larger dating company than myself. And basically, I got all these like big promises about what was going to happen when I worked for that company. And it was a very, very tough decision. And when I was making that decision to, either go and do it or not to do it, there was a non-compete agreement on the table, which was essentially that if I go and I do this, I will not be able to have a pickup company or teach dating or anything for 3 years. So what I said to that other company was I said, okay, I'm out. I will never do that. I can't give up on Evolution Daily like that. They took it off of the table and said, okay, no non-compete. So then I just went and I did it. And I fucking left Evolution Daily in the dust. And I did not follow my heart. I felt like shit about it. I went and I worked for this other company. I went and moved to Miami. It was sick. I lived in this crazy house in South Beach, like a mansion. I had a sick life. It was so much fun. But I never felt fucking good about it really deep down in my core. When I'd be laying there at night and watching Interstellar and it's quiet and maybe I don't have a chick over and I'm just like laying there, I'm like, fuck, dude. I'm like working to make somebody else money. And I'm not going to make a lot of money in the long run. I really get this feeling I'm not going to ever do so well for myself within this company. However, I am going to help somebody else get rich. And so what I did is I didn't follow my heart, and I'll never, ever, 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 ever do that again. So I fucking fell back on my core principles of, Evolution Daily is my baby. I want to give it my all. And I took an offer that at the time seemed a little... it seemed good. It seemed like it was going to be great. And I just felt like shit about it for 3 months, and I decided to follow my heart. And I basically talked to, somebody who is now my business partner, and I said, hey, I I want to give Evolution Daily my everything. Like, I want to fucking like do this up big time. Give it my absolute all. 5 videos a week, boot camps, fucking travel, all this
Awesome.
stuff. He was like, let's do it.
Awesome.
So follow your heart.
Yeah, I mean, doing the 5 videos a week and stuff like that, I definitely see a big time production value that we've been putting out. And honestly, one of the things that I really enjoy was your latest video that you just put out, where you have an unedited version of you out on the field, which you do not see really any of those at all. So actually being able to see where you fuck up, like where it's not so perfect, where you don't sound so witty, and the times where you do sound great, and you're like, oh my god, I did do that, and that pull was extremely smooth for me. What do you think? Do you think more people should be exposed to that type of content because they see a much more reality-based view of what it would actually be like in a nightclub scenario or daytime scenario?
Yeah, so the reason why I'm literally the only YouTube channel in the world doing that, and I literally am. I mean, I've looked at all the other guys. Nobody else is doing that because everyone wants to fucking make you feel like they're the sharpest, pimp-ass fucking player guy, whatever. I know who I am, and I know that I'm very, very... I'll toot my own horn every once in a while. I'm very fucking good at pickup. I've worked really, really hard to get here. I sleep with girls that are out of my league. If you saw me walking down the street holding hands with some of the girls that I fucked, you'd be like, whoa, how did he get her? Because I've gotten so good at pickup. So what I'm not afraid of is I'm not afraid of guys seeing, oh, wow, Aaron didn't have the smartest, wittiest response right there. And it's not that I'm like, and people have been like, oh, it's just because you are like skipping the editing. Like some of my some people have to say that to me. I'm like, no, it takes a long time to fucking blur faces, all this stuff. I'm not. If anything, it would be less hard because then I'd have less to edit. But the reason why I put that in there, man, is because I want to show from begin. I don't want you to sit there like, oh, so what happened during that 8-minute gap? Like, why doesn't he want us to see that? I want you guys to see, I want everyone to see from beginning to end how I did it, so you can watch that video, and if you really wanted to be crazy, you could go out and do the exact same thing that I did, from open to close. And I love doing that, man, because I think that is a quality of transparency that I always want to be having in all of my videos, and I want people to know that I'm the real deal. And I think by releasing these unedited, I'm gonna release another one next Monday. That girl who I told you is the hottest girl I've ever slept with, I fucking got it all on infield. So I'm going to release the beginning to end, all the way from the approach where I'm with my buddy and I'm like, oh, this one, and I approach her and you'll hear the whole conversation all the way up into her fucking apartment. And yeah, I just do that, man, because I don't need to. I can back up my shit. When I tell guys yo, I can literally go out with you for a night, I can watch everything you're doing, analyze it, break it down, explain what you're doing wrong, and then we can, again, capitalize upon what you're doing right and, eliminate what you're doing wrong. I can back it up, and so I don't need to just have 3 flashy little clips.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about just exactly how you personally set up a boot camp, how you think is the best teaching style, and just maybe some of the things that you've heard from students, maybe common misconceptions about boot camp, or perhaps something that you wish maybe you knew a little bit earlier before you started doing boot camps, and just some of the things you've learned along the way.
Yeah, so the primary objective of the boot camp, I mean, if you were looking, I mean, it doesn't happen this way, but if you really look at what the ultimate goal is, the ultimate goal of the boot camp is for you to be as good as me at pickup at the end. So in almost like a broad stroke philosophical sense, that is essentially what I should be doing. And I'm not, and the reason why I say it doesn't really happen is because it's like a target you're not going to hit, because this shit takes time. So although I can tell you literally every fucking line I use, all these different things, there's a certain core confidence that comes with the way that you can sexually look a girl in the eyes. There's a lot of these different philosophies that you really have to harness over the years that, really fucking make you have good posture and the confidence to fucking pull a girl over to you and weird stuff like that. So it does take time. However, basically on my boot camps, what I do is, so I'll start off with super newbie training, essentially, where I will give you a bunch of little lines, even though I tell guys yeah, you shouldn't just always be memorizing these fucking codes. Sometimes you have to at the beginning. So it's cheat codes. I basically give you all these different little lines, and what I'll do is I will We'll do drills. First of all, we do a bunch of different drills. I'll make guys go up to girls without saying a single word, going up with a cool guy smile, and then just holding the eye contact to see what she says. Things like that. I do the smile, swagger, socialize drill, and then something that we call hit and runs, which is essentially go up to 10 girls with no intent at all and go up and just say, hey, I think you're really pretty. I just wanted to say hello. Oh, thanks. Yeah, you have a good night, okay? Then later on, you could actually go back up and reopen that, but ideally it's going in with these 10 without ever having any intent at all. Stuff like that. So drills. And then the big thing that I do, and this is something that a lot, I almost like hesitate to put it out there because I think it's like super, I'm going to, I don't give a fuck. But it's very unique to my boot camps, is I will wing you on your sets from the frame of the standoffish friend. So if I'm winging a newbie who I have on my boot camp, we're going to go, and I'm really trying, we're going to go in and I'm going to dominate the conversation and I'm going to fucking get the attention of the whole group and, you know. So what I do is I wing my students from the frame of I'm the standoffish friend. So he goes in, hey, what's going on? How are you guys doing? This is my friend Aaron. And I'm like, hey, what's up? How are you guys? And I look at him to carry the conversation. It's completely his interaction. You know what I mean? And that's unique because first of all, I don't see other boot camps really winging the students at all. They're kind of like watching from afar, which has always been a little confusing to me because I've been in nightclubs where I can barely hear myself talking. Right. So I'm kind of like, I mean, is this dude standing 10 feet away really going to be able to like analyze? So that's why I go in with my students, stuff like that. As far as what I've learned over the years, man, in regards to teaching, is that I put all the, kind of like what I was talking about like silencing my mind. I put all my fucking bullshit in a suitcase, I throw it in my closet, and I burn it before I go out on these fucking boot camps, dude. It ain't about me, man. When a kid fucking hands me money at the beginning of the night and now we're doing a boot camp, my phone goes on silent. I don't care if I have a fucking girl blowing me up. Come over, come on. I don't give a fuck, man. I leave all my shit at home. And the boot camp is all about literally me trying to make you as good as me at pickup. Because all I can teach is what I know. So I try to make you as good as me at pickup. And yeah, man, I mean, it's very cliche in this industry and in self-development and entrepreneurship and all this stuff, man. But I think that over time, what's that expression? Cream rises to the top or whatever. I think people will be able to see that I genuinely care. I get massive satisfaction when the fucking student texts me 2 weeks later and he's like, dude, holy shit, I swear to God, everything is different. Everything is different. When can I do another boot camp? I'm like, I'll wake up and get that, and I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, dude. I'll call him. I'll be like, dude, what the fuck happened? You know, I mean, so over time, people will be able to see that I care.
Yeah, we are truly blessed right now, living in some amazing times where you can actually go out with somebody and they're willing to teach you something that really isn't taught to anybody. You would think that, finding a partner would be something that would be like really, really important in a lot of people's lives. They have health, wealth, and relationships, and it always seems like relationships is always falling by the wayside. Is there a certain reason why you think that is, and do you think that you're a direct response for the reason why there really hasn't been a true calling or anyone out there to step up and truly help young men?
Yeah, so I mean, people are trying to step up, but the fact of the matter, dude, is so you and I met through the forum of a much larger dating company, actually. And I've been watching those videos. I came up on those videos forever. I love those guys to death. And the truth of the matter is that over the years, before I even started teaching, before I started Evolution Daily, a couple of those videos changed my life so massively that I was like, oh my God, like, dude, my fucking best friend, Jacob, fake name, whatever. He needs to fucking see this. Dude, my fucking boy, Chris, he needs to see this, whatever. And I would fucking show these guys these videos. And I'd be like, dude, like, this is it. This is it. Like, we gotta fucking change. Like, oh my God, we can take over the fucking world. And they'd watch it, and they'd be like, dude, this is like kind of weird. And what are they fucking doing now? Not shit still.
Nothing.
And they're my boys. They're still my boys. But I go home to visit my parents, and they're still there, and they're still getting drunk every night, and they're just fucking sitting there smoking inside of the bar, which is illegal. Like, all I'm saying is that I fucking... Wait, what was the original question? Because I started going to... What was the original question?
Basically, I was just saying that young men today, in terms of like health, wealth, and relationships, relationship seems to be a thing that's really not truly addressed.
Oh yeah, okay. So the reason why I went on that whole little rant is that I think that it is addressed, but I think that it's just really fucking hard, man. It's hard, one, to teach. It's hard, two, to get people to listen. And then when you do get people to listen, like I said, me sending videos that essentially, I'll fucking plug it. I don't care. The Truth About Success from RSD, parts 1, 2, 3, and 4. Life-changing shit, man. I still watch those like every once in a while, maybe like once a month or something. And I would like send those to my friends like, dude, we need to be fucking killing it at life.
Right.
And it doesn't matter, man. Some kid out there, maybe it was like my 10th subscriber, and he's gonna watch every video I ever put out and never make a cold approach. He'll never do it. And like I'm
Yep.
like I can't fucking grab your hand and put it on a girl's tit and give you the line and then you go home with her that night. Like, sorry.
Yeah, it's tough because I think a lot of people, whereas with money and with help, you can kind of like immediately see results. You see a number in your bank account, you see that you got six pack abs or whatever your goal is, and then you see social, and you talk about how you have like these ups and downs. And what I think is a frustrating for a lot of guys is they, maybe they have like they meet three girls in 1 week and they have a fantastic week, and then the next thing you know, the next 3 weeks they suck. And it really goes back, like you were saying before, about auditing yourself. Is there any way that guys can truly audit themselves in a way that I know you do like videos and stuff like that, so you have a means of like looking at your body language, stuff like that. Is there a way that people can break down their nights in a more self-sufficient manner when maybe they don't have a camera on them?
Yeah, definitely. So, wait, I wanted to hit on something that oh yeah. There's something I really wanted to hit on really quick before I move on to like the auditing thing.
Go for it.
Is so one of the things I tell guys a lot of the time. So pickup is so weird, man. It's so fucking weird. Like, and guys will get so upset when they're not doing well. I've had horrible nights, bro, where I go home and I'm literally like, I'm like fucking like squeezing my pillows and shit. Like, what the fuck? Like, what am I fucking doing, dude? Like I fucking freak out, man. And and I've done that in the past because, dude, there's so much ego involved, man. Like, girls are rejecting you because like you're not a fucking attractive dude a lot of the time. They're rejecting you because you don't talk right. You're not a good storyteller. They're rejecting you because she thinks that you're like not fucking manly enough. Like, dude, they're like ego is such a huge deal in the pickup community. And I still have a fucking ego. I'm not trying to dissolve my ego. I like my ego. But what I teach guys a lot of the times, man, is when you go out and you're learning this thing, try your goddamn hardest to disassociate who you are from, and this is at the beginning, of all this, from like what you're putting forward. So I'm not saying be a completely different person, but understand, Jack in Syracuse, that when you are going out and learning this shit and a girl's mean to you, you walk up to a girl on the street and she says, I'm sorry, can you just get away from me? She doesn't know who you are and your life experience and everything you're about, and but yet you walk away like she just saw into your fucking soul in your heart and she said, nope, fuck you, dude. But no, like, disassociate all of that from the fact that you're a guy trying to learn pickup. Understand that the shit is pretty strange, man. Going out and talking to girls, cold approach, walk up to random girls on the street, it's amazing. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But there's a lot of beautiful things that are fucking strange, man. Like paintball. Paintball is kind of weird, but it's beautiful. It's amazing. So I always tell guys, like, understand that the person getting rejected is a guy trying to learn pickup. It's not you, Jack from Syracuse. So try to hold on to that and be like, okay, so I got rejected 10 times, but it wasn't about my beliefs and my values. It was about the fact that I was a stranger coming up and I'm trying to work on being cool. You know what I mean? So that's a huge tip as far as like guys just just not being hard on themselves and not letting the massive amounts of rejections like really get to you. And then as far as the auditing thing, I would say to have a very serious heart-to-heart with a wingman. So you can go out and do pickup alone. However, it's better with a wing. I say go out during the daytime alone, go out in the evening with a wing. And when I moved out of Miami, I actually didn't have any wingmen. I created wingmen. I actually went up to a couple guys and I said, hey, are you guys doing pickup by chance? Because I thought they were. They were just two guys kind of standing there and they'd go up to girls and come back. And they're like, no, what do you mean? I'm like, are you guys like a part of the pickup community? They're like, no. I showed them pickup. I taught them some pickup and they blew me up every fucking night. Dude, let's go out. Let's go out. So I created wings. So first off, I say if you're going to go out in the evening, get wings. Second off, have a very serious conversation with your wing where you say, okay, we are friends, but you're not doing me any favors.
That's what I really love about your videos is the fact that you actually have it on video. People see that you're not just talking the talk, you're fucking walking the walk. You're living the lifestyle. You're living the life that people desire.
Yeah, and quick little fucking rant as well, man. I mean, if you were making these fucking videos from your apartment in North Carolina, living with your parents or something, and you're like, go down here, I don't even know how to say this. I don't care, whatever. I had this fucking guy messaging me on Facebook the other day about his channel where he's teaching people how to step outside of their comfort zone, and he's asking me advice, and he's like, you know, well, how would you recommend that I grow my brand? I just bought T-shirts, and I want to get my T-shirt sales up, and I look at the profile picture of the page, and he's got the T-shirt on and stuff like that. And I looked through his page and stuff, and I hit him up and I said, "Where's your YouTube?" He's like, "Oh, well, it's just a Facebook page right now." And I go, "So what are you doing? That's like, are you stepping outside of your comfort zone?" He's like, "Yeah, every day." I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Just like going on like these like hikes and stuff like that." And I'm like, "Okay, that's fucking cool, but you're trying to sell T-shirts to guys to get out of their comfort zone, and you're going on hikes. Like,
Right.
I don't get it. Like." Gary Vaynerchuk's been talking a lot lately about document, not create. And that's really the angle. Do you know about that? Have you been watching those
Saw
vids?
that video too, yeah.
Oh
Saw
my
this.
God. Revolutionary. Changed my life. Changed my life forever. Because now I'm realizing that I can be fucking documenting my journey through pickup as well, and that's going to make my fucking channel blow up to 1 million goddamn subscribers. And I don't need to just create only the concept videos where I'm telling you what to do, but rather I'm like, yo, I went out last night. Shit sucked. I didn't learn anything. Sometimes we're going to have those nights. You know, and I just think that it's like because of the internet, dude, I have a deep theory about this. You want to hear my theory?
Shoot.
Okay. So I think that back before television was very widespread, so maybe before the, I'm going to say before the 80s and before the internet existed, okay? In order for you to be successful, you had to be around success. And being around success will actually lend itself favors to you. Meaning you really pick up on energies, you see habits, things like that. You really start to act, you know, it's like the common thing about, you know, you are some of the 5 people you spend the time with the most, whatever, in the next 5 years. And so you used to have to get around success to be successful, and that in turn, if you actually did have the drive, if you were somewhat intelligent, if you kind of figured out, you know, got lucky a couple times as well, you could get successful. But I think that there's a lot of biological needs that are being met by watching YouTube videos. And so they're being met, and because of that, people think that they're doing something, but they're really not. So what I'm talking about here is I'm talking about the entrepreneur, and I'm talking about the guy who's been watching pickup videos for fucking 5 years, and there's some weird little part of his brain that makes him feel like he's doing pickup. And he's learning and that he's growing, but he's fucking not. And I think the same thing is happening with this business thing is like people are watching Gary Vaynerchuk. They're watching Tim Ferriss. They're listening to the Solopreneur Hour podcast with Michael O'Neill and all these people. And they're like, I'm learning. Ty Lopez, book a day. I'm going to read these fucking books. I'm growing. But they're not doing dick. Nope. And they're not doing dick. And then they think that they're going to throw up their little page of fucking release the awesome, or I don't want to say guys, I don't fucking know, it don't matter, of whoever's fucking sending me these messages about like, how do I sell these t-shirts? And I'm like, are you doing shit, dude? You can't post an inspirational photo that you clearly jacked from somebody else's Instagram and then write, oh, I totally agree, and sell a t-shirt, dude. Like, no, it ain't going to work. And the same thing goes just for like anybody who's like, like, dude, people just think that this shit's gonna come easy, and it's not, man. I'm patient as all fuck. I will be fine if I don't make a penny for the next 2 years, literally, which I'm already like doing local boot camps, things like that.
It's awesome.
But if I didn't make a penny over the next 2 years, I've secured it to where I'm like, oh, I will be okay. I will be okay. So I'm going to pump out these 5 videos a week, giving amazing content to the fucking world, and I'm not going to expect anything from them. I'm not expecting anything from my audience yet. I'm not going to release a product next week just because I have fucking 20 new videos up since I relaunched. Like, man, this shit's going to take time, and it's going to be hard, and you know that.
Yeah, it's definitely a grind. I did a video about that a couple weeks ago where I talk about how people romanticize what it's like to be an entrepreneur or be an actor or something to do in the arts. And a lot of people end up thinking that this entrepreneurship, they see the Dan Bilzerians and they see like all these pictures of, you know, super successful people, whether you talk about Ty Lopez and all these big time stars. And they just assume that they can just jump in and it's just going to be easy. Like, oh, all I got to do is film and throw up a video and stuff like that. And honestly, if I was to tell anybody to anything, and like we were talking about before, Gary Vaynerchuk, is that just document your progress. I mean, even if you truly have nothing, like if you feel like you have nothing to share with the world in terms of whether it be ideas or some sort of philosophical way of thinking of something, or something such as yourself, which is a lot more action-oriented and getting people out of their ass. I think you're right, though. People just use the internet, just like they use the TV, as a conduit to think they're actually living a lifestyle when really they're just pretending.
Well, and before the internet, the startup cost now is very, very low. I mean, for $40 a year of hosting on WordPress and $12.99 for the website, I'm an entrepreneur now. $50. Mom, I need $50 to become an entrepreneur. Before the internet, oh fuck, I gotta go buy a shop, sign a year lease, and then, oh my god, wait, I'm not making money. Oh fuck, I'm getting foreclosed on now, or whatever. Like, it used to cost a lot of money to be an entrepreneur. And fuck, we're talking about a website. It could actually be free. I've got a YouTube channel. Go subscribe to my Instagram as well, and all this shit. And I'm a fucking entrepreneur. And not to say that you need to be spending all this money or whatever, but it's just so easy to call yourself some shit now. If I see one more best-selling author on some fucking guy's ebook, fuck you, dude. There's typos on the first page. Yeah. There's typos on the first page. I scroll through and I see it's 74 pages, and you're going to tell me you're a best-selling author? No, you're not. Stop it. Who are you trying to fool? Yeah, I think... That's what, dude, guys like you and I, man, we want people to, like, I don't even actually fully know the depth of, like, what you're really fully trying to build or whatever, but what you're doing now is incredible, which is you're talking about shit you care about. You're reading these fucking books, doing these dope-ass book reviews with a fucking canyon in the background. I don't know what your full business model is. It doesn't matter. You're documenting your fucking life right now. You're going through your journey, and you're showing that shit, and at the end of it, you're not like... And also fucking pay $2,000 for coaching and whatever, which eventually there will come a time when, you know, again, I don't know your business model, whatever, but I'll be doing a pitch soon as well. Like, in a month and a half, I'm going to, like, fucking post a video probably promoting my virtual instruction program, whatever. But we want people to buy stuff. I don't want people to buy something because it's $4.98 and there's some fucking psychology behind why that. I want them to spend $500, not $4.98 or $4.99 because it looks kind of a little better. I want them to spend $500 because they're fucking stoked about my virtual instruction program. And they're like, whoa, I'm going to talk to Aaron and he's going to coach me. I want you to be excited about what you're spending money on me for, and I don't want it to be some dumb little thing where you pay, it's $7 today only, and then next month you get a recurring bill of $167 and you're like, what the fuck is this? Right. There's an ethical way to get rich.
Yeah, I think there's definitely, I like the fact, I love the new business model that's kind of out now where you just pump out as much content as possible so people can't possibly ignore you because you're giving out so much free, awesome shit that by the time you do make your pitch, they almost feel obligated to help you out because they're like, man, this guy has helped me in so many different parts of my life. How can I not at least just give him a handshake? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the law of reciprocity, reciprocating the value that you've been given or whatever by just buying a product, and then you get even more value when you buy the product or whatever it is, you know.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of time that goes into this that I don't think people necessarily put into account. Just editing the videos, going out there, doing pickups, talking to girls. I mean, like, all of this is like kind of streamlined in a way because it's your life, but at the exact same time, it's so much work, and that's what people just don't understand.
Yeah, man, and and I have friends who they'll fucking like ask me to like hang out or come home for the weekend or whatever, and I'll be like, oh, dude, like I'm like literally I'm swamped with work right now, like I have so much shit to do, and they're like, you make YouTube videos about picking up girls, like what do you mean your work? Like they like. I'll be like, yeah, my fucking business. And they'll be like, your business. I'm like, you're just a fucking dummy, man. You're working at a
Right.
goddamn factory right now. You're pissed off. Like, don't fucking talk to me about. You have no idea. I throw up a 6 minute video. It took me fucking at least 45 minutes to edit that shit, to get it fucking up, to upload it, to write the copy underneath. I write a blog post every other video. I do keyword research. Fucking make the thumbnail. Blah. So don't fucking talk to me about like. Yeah, fucking people are like, they just think this shit, it looks easy. It looks easy, right? I see one
Yeah.
of your videos, I'm like,
Looks
oh, that couldn't have been that hard. I mean, I know because
right.
I'm in the world, but if I'm a viewer only.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand necessarily, like, maybe not fear on like a primal level, but just like the fear of, this is really swimming in the deep end, and pretty much you're just jumping in without having any idea and just learning on the fly. I mean, something is something that you might think is small, like going down to Miami and spending time down there. For some other person who hasn't left their home state, they might think that's the craziest thing in the world, that you're willing to just take your entire life and just say, "Fuck it," and just go for it. Because it takes a lot of balls to live this type of lifestyle, and to grow in this lifestyle takes a lot of hard work.
Well, and it's uncertain. I mean, I know. I mean, I went to three different colleges. Right now, by Ohio State standards, I am a second semester junior, meaning that if I really wanted to go full time again, I would have about 3 to 4 semesters where I would go back and whatever, man, and I could and I know I could go back and do that and rack up some more student loans
Right.
and then go get a very secure job. I could go
Right.
make 60K a year maybe for the fucking however many years, and then maybe really climb that fucking ladder and get up to 90K a year or something, and
Right.
I'll always be fine. That's not bad money. I can take a
Right.
couple sick vacations a year and that's fine or whatever. But guys
Right.
like you and us, man, we have an inherent drive. I've turned down good fucking jobs. It doesn't matter. I don't need to get into detail. I've turned down like a job that would have been close to 6 figures when you rack on in benefits, things like that, whatever. And it's because like we don't want to be fucking boring ass, normal ass fucking life, dude. Because I would have went and taken that job, and one of two things would have happened. One, I would have fucking hated it and quit. Or two, the worst option is that became my reality and I fucking settled. And I decided, you know what? This 2 grand a week is not looking too bad. And then before you know it, I've been fucking working at CSX in Ohio for fucking 6 years now, and I'm fat, and I'm 32, and I have a fat girlfriend, and I'm like, man, remember those RSD videos I used to watch? Man, I wonder if those guys are still doing pickup.
In everything you say, well, not everything you say, but in every hypothetical scenario you bust out, you always say you have a fat girlfriend. I think that's
You know why?
hilarious.
You know why? This is why. I used to weigh 290 pounds.
Wow.
And so when I talk about how I would like fuck a few low quality girls before pickup, they were big fat girls. And I'm sorry. Like body movement, positivity, whatever.
I've been there, man. It's so big
Big
deal.
big women are great. They have so much to offer. Blah, blah, whatever. I don't care. But the fact of the matter was, at the time, it was all I could get. So, like,
Right.
my friends, like, dude, I'll see a fucking chick who I'm like, dude, she's so fucking hot. And they'll be like, she has no tits or no ass. I'm like, yeah, but she's skinny.
Right.
Yeah, but she looks like a model. She's like skinny, and they're like, dude, there's like nothing there. She looks like a little boy. I'm like, but she's skinny. It's because like I have years of like it was like my big fat body on a big fat body, and fucking slopping around. It's not enjoyable because your dick's smaller when you're fat too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just all sorts of bad. So now it's
Yep.
like when I fuck a thin girl, I'm like, yeah, dude, we can like feel everything. It's like,
Right.
so yeah, in my I look at the future that I think I would have had I not gotten on the path I'm on now. Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
that future ends up with a fat wife.
Accurate. Yeah, no, that's really cool that you lost a lot of weight. Actually, I used to weigh like 228 pounds, so
How
I was
tall are
really
you?
big too. 5'11".
Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah,
tubby. That's up there,
I was
yeah.
ch- yeah, I was chunky, and I remember I went to the doctor's one day, and my doctor, she said I was fat, and I lost my mind. I went crazy, and
Wow.
I think it's always nice when you're starting something, whether it be a business or getting good with girls or trying to lose weight, and having that emotional charge behind it. Is there anything that you can think of if somebody can't find necessarily that emotional charge, that emotional will inside them to do what they know they have to do in life, like lean into their resistance, do what they know they have to do but they've been putting off? Is there something other than having essentially a catastrophic event in their life to kick their ass into gear?
Yeah, man, I haven't really fully decided how public I'm gonna go with my views on this yet, but I guess this might be the beginning of it. Mushrooms. I'm sorry, like I really haven't decided how public I want to go with this being my like serious like I used to trip balls and I fucking loved it. I've had so many insane epiphanies. The thing that I explain to people is that psychedelics help you deeply internalize things that you would not deeply internalize before. So someone could walk up to you. Let's go back to Jack in Syracuse or whatever name I used earlier. Jack in
Yeah.
Syracuse. Some fucking guy walks up to you and he looks at you in the eye and he says, listen, man, you're gonna die. Before you know it, you're gonna wake up. You're gonna be very old, and you're gonna really wonder how you spent this thing and whether you gave it your all. And he can walk off, and because you're just in the middle of the day, you're just like, well, that was kind of weird. Man, I should think about that, and then maybe think about it for a second or whatever. But mushrooms put you in such closeness to the truth of who you are, what this all is, what's really important, man. I mean, like, it puts you just face to face with the truth, man. And so that same kind of statement from like a good friend while you're tripping or something, or like you and your friend are having a conversation, you guys are like, yeah, why aren't we fucking doing this thing? Or like why do I think so much about that? Why do I care so much about the fact that me and my mom had that fight and I'm being mean to her for months since then, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And you're like, it's so fucking irrelevant. So
Right.
I had these moments on mushrooms that made me realize that all of life is a complete absurdity. It's all a joke. Take it seriously because you want to do the best you can, but also understand that, like, this is all weird. It's all weird. The fact that we're fucking here, nobody knows why we're here. It really is
Right.
all just a big ass joke. That coffee shop I see you at, like, it's all fucking set up in a way that, millions of dollars were spent on top tier marketers in the world about where to set the chips. Like, this shit is all so strange, and guys take it so seriously. They go out and they have the balls to approach a model in New York City, and she's mean to them, and they go home like, fuck, dude, why the fuck? God damn it. And it's like, dude, you did something pretty cool, man. You went up to a model in New York City, bro. Like, good job.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you were to guess, I mean, if you were to maybe like say guesstimate, like guys that actually run into advice, whether it be through like social status and trying to gain social status or social dynamics or pickup or cold approach pickup, what do you think is this like statistic of actual guys that actually go out there and take action?
Ooh.
I mean, it could be as low as less than 5%. I'm literally thinking like 3%. I mean, that's my guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
From your experience, what do you feel? Maybe from students.
Yeah, I mean it's really hard to say because the people that I've met in real life, as far as boot camp students, going to different cities and meeting up with pickup guys, which I've done that a lot. I travel around a lot and I type in on the Facebook groups. I say, hey, I'm gonna be in town. I meet all these guys, stuff like that.
It's really cool.
But when you've met a guy who you meet them in real life, they've now fallen down the funnel far enough to where they're actually out doing it. But as far as the people that are at the top of the funnel, which is just watching YouTube vids, and they don't ever go any farther down, it's gotta be. I mean, dude, there's pickup videos with millions and millions. The company I was just working for temporarily, one of those videos has fucking 5 million views. Another one has 4. Another one has 3. There's other pickup companies with multi-million views, but there ain't a million fucking guys running around doing pickup. I mean, the community is small. It's less than 10K. There is less than 10,000 It might even be smaller than that. Yeah, dude, it is. It's like 5,000 guys that are literally like, yo, okay, cool. Thanks for the video. Let me write down a couple of these concepts. Now I'm going to go out and work on that tonight. Yeah, dude, this was fucking fun. We were talking before this about how we were going to maybe do like 20 minutes.
Oh, dude, I knew when I came in here to pick your brain. I love asking questions, and you're a smart guy, so I knew this was gonna last a long time, honestly.
Yeah, this was fun, man. Yeah, if any of your viewers would ever want to check my shit out, it's just youtube.com/evolution daily. Just watch my vids, whatever. So
Yeah, definitely check out Aaron on Evolution Daily. He has some fantastic videos out there, as well as videos where completely unscripted. This is real life. He's actually going up to girls, actually talking to them. This is not fake. This is 100% real, and you can learn from him. Learn from one of the greatest.
And really quick too. If they've hung around this long too, get good at this. Just get good at this at the very least, so you can fucking get good at something. Like, dude, there's people that aren't good at anything. You realize that? Like, I know guys that aren't good at anything. They suck at everything. And it's like, dude, when you start getting good with chicks, man, your fucking world just starts to... It's not the everything, but it's the other stuff I talked about before. The communication, the confidence, the guy friends I've made through this, who... It's no coincidence that a major part of pickup community is entrepreneurs also. Because we're all like these boss-ass fucking dudes who are like, yo, I want to do this shit too. I want this out of life. I want that out of life. So thanks for having me on, bro. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, rock and roll, brother. You too. Thanks for your time.